All right, I have Adam Moss here with Moss Roofing out of Indianapolis, here to share a little bit about some results that have happened in this short interview. Adam, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Sweet. So, for those of you who are who are watching this and don't know Adam, Adam's second generation, right?
Yep.
And you've been running a company for a few years now, taking the reins from your parents. So, could you share a little bit with everybody kind of what life was like prior to jumping into the program? What were your frustrations? What was your kind of undesirable situation that you wanted help getting out of? Just, so everybody can understand.
Yeah, so to your point, I'm second generation. The business was started in '91, and we were pretty stagnant at anywhere between 750,000 and a million in revenue. And when I came aboard in 2016, I really wanted to bump that up as quickly and as efficiently as I could. And the first couple of years were up and down in terms of storms here that inflated some numbers and made me think we were doing better than what we were. And then, 2018 was a really big gut check for us in terms of reality hitting, where we had really strong revenue. But God, the quality of life was just so bad. My mom and I were working 14, 15 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. I was recently married with a newborn, and so that was a lot of stress on the family life as well. And we just, we were doing okay, but the level of accountability that we had for the people around us was just not there, and we were doing a really poor job of articulating that to our team. And so we were looking for a change going into 2019 and knew that we had to do something, and that's how we came across you.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So yeah, you had this is common for a lot of people in the industry, taking over the family business. And you probably had a decent lifestyle because of that growing up, but then you always knew there was more, that knew there was something, there's way more potential. So you started to do that, but although you saw growth, it was just a quality of life issue. And so you're like, we got to change this. So yeah, you're a totally different person from a year ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Action. I could definitely tell. So,
Yeah.
Can you share what was some of the biggest, reasons why you decided to jump on board with the program specifically, with Sales Transformation Group? What were the things, what was the vehicle that you saw in us to help you get from here to where you wanted to go?
So the number one thing is consistency, man, across the board, whether it's from my employees, for my customers' experience, whether it's estimating, communication, every pinpoint aspect of the customer's journey needed to be consistent for us. And we were doing an okay job of it, but not consistent enough for us to not lose our minds, right? And those 10 to 15% of customers where the consistency dropped is where a ton of our headaches were in 2018. And so when you and I spoke originally, when I looked through the program, it was repeatable. And that was the big thing that we needed, because a lot of the things that we were doing because we knew that they were the right thing to do, but we didn't have any sort of program in place where anybody besides myself or my head sales guy could do it, right? The closing percentages were very, very different between the people within my company. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I could maybe get a little bit more out of my lead dog, but my hope and goal was to get my B and C performers up to, B plus, A minus. And if I could do that, and if I could increase their consistency and increase the customer's experience consistency, that a lot of the headaches that we had in the past would be taken care of in their own right.
Got it. So standardizing the process and improving the performance of the entire team, not just the most talented or,
right.
the owners, the passionate ones, right?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So it's been around 12 months maybe since you guys started. You got a little bit of a slow start, but then in a short time you've seen an impact. So can you talk a little bit about the experience since buying it, and then what kind of results have you seen in a short time, or how in the defined timeline rather? What's your results look like, and has that desire to improve, and standardize happened?
Yeah. So we were definitely a little slow in the implementation. You and I both know that. I'm the type of guy that kind of needs to be my feet held to the fire, or else I'll be a little lackadaisical in implementing things. But once we got the ball rolling, man, 2019 was just such a different year for us than 2018 was. We had the overall market was down. in my area from what everybody's telling me, manufacturers, distribution, peers. We were up 30% in revenue, which was great from 2019. Specifically, our gross margin was up 43%, which was huge. So we were doing, more work, right, which is great, but more importantly, we were making more money on the work that we were doing. Yeah. And what we also decided to do was, if we could really implement and standardize our process and really have a fine-tuned sales process for our customer, then we could really articulate our value a lot more and upsell much better roof systems than what we were doing before, which allows us to give our customers a better product. It allows us to have peace of mind that they're getting the best that they could possibly want, as well as weeding out the customers that we're just looking for the cheapest bid. And I understand that that's a subset of customers, but those are the customers for us that really take the most time, cause the most headaches, and we were able to build a process in place with the help of your system that allowed us to kind of be more selective on who we wanted to work with, which was really nice.
Gotcha. So you mentioned to me a couple of times the three numbers that have improved since implementing this system and having a repeatable sales process and a methodology, a program. Those three numbers that have improved, what were those three metrics that you've seen a change with?
Yeah, so overall so everything's gone up for us, but the big three, so the gross margin, like I said, from 2018 to 2019 was up about 43% overall, which was great. The other big one is just the overall company closing percentage. That was up about 22% from 18 to 19. And then just total revenue overall was up considerably as well. So those three things combined were huge for us from a company perspective, but more so the quality of life was very different for us in 2019 as well, where gosh, there were points where working 8 hours a day seemed like something that we weren't anywhere close to for years to come, right? Like it just didn't seem plausible or realistic when you and I spoke, and I was scared going into 2019 that this would be the rest of my life, right? 14, 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, not having time for family and all that. And I think the biggest difference for us, like even if revenue would have stayed the same, gross margin would have stayed the same, closing percentage would have stayed the same, the biggest thing that I was looking for when talking to you was a better quality of life. And we definitely got that for sure. Mm-hmm. For everybody, not just myself and the company.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So better quality of life and, more money, more standardization, everything's definitely changed. And that's just inside 1 year. Can you share what your outlook looks like now? Like what do you see the future look like now for you, running the company primarily, mostly? What's life look like for you as you look into the future? And I know I'm one system. I'm not the only thing you've ever done and consumed. I'm just one part of your team that's made a difference. But since having this change happen, what do you see the future look like? What's the outcomes since making some of these improvements, with hopefully some of our help?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest is scalability, right? Being able to say, okay, we had a 30% increase last year, and the system itself worked with that increase. So this year we're expecting to have we're hoping to have a 45% increase this year from 2019. And all the metrics that we see, we're trending for that very easily right now, just through Q1. So I feel really confident about that. So scalability is the biggest thing. I also see an opportunity to continue to spend more time doing the things I want to do, which is huge, right? Whether it's in the business or outside of the business, I don't feel constrained by being the owner of a contracting business anymore, which was a problem in 2018. And so, whether it's adding to my family or doubling down on the quality time that I spend with them, or, just trying to be more present when I'm home, I think that is the biggest thing that I see in my future that is realistic now that I did not think would be, or into 2017, early 2018, and even late 2018.
So good. So that's exciting. And most people never get out of that. So you took but this took an investment, right? You investing. And our program is anywhere from 8 to 20 grand for the
Right.
sales accelerator program with group coaching. That doesn't include the mastermind program, which is more,
Right.
but so, what would you say, like, your ROI has been, or how many times have it paid for itself since you implemented it?
God, yeah. Yeah, that's a tough question, man. I don't know if it's exactly quantifiable. Um, I mean, just off of the revenue gross margin, monetarily speaking, it's paid for itself 40, 50, 60 times already just in 2019. And then like the things that you can't quantify, right? Not having to work as much, being able to, I mean, it's been good, man. It's been good. But from a direct ROI standpoint, it paid for itself once we started implementing it within the first month.
Good.
Easily, for sure.
Awesome. That's good info. Thank you. And we're just getting started, right? Like,
Oh yeah, dude. I'm so pumped for this year. Like I think 2019 for us was just like a big eye-opening experience of like, okay, if you do things in a way that you knew that you always were supposed to do, we always knew we were supposed to do this stuff, Ryan. Like it's obvious, right? You need to be able to standardize your system. You need to be able to hold your salespeople accountable. You need to be able to talk to them at a high level in terms of what their performance should look like. But the difference is, okay, we know A, we know what we want in Z. How do we get the other, all the other letters figured out on our journey there? That to me was so cumbersome and so difficult to conceptualize that once you provided the roadmap, getting to A to Z, man, is so easy now that before it just seemed like, okay, how the hell are we going to be able to do this, right? And so that was the biggest thing, is filling in the gap between A and Z.
Good. So if you're going to say like the only way this is going to work, if someone were to buy this, like what are the two things that they have, like as a requirement that has to be there in order for this to work?
Yeah. So whoever's going to be manning the ship, whether it's the sales manager and owner, like they got to buy in and they've got to be consistent with it. That was my problem at the beginning, is I bought in, I knew we were supposed to do it, but I always found excuses to do something else. Right. And so the sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to get the ROI on it for sure. And I also think understanding that this only works if you're ready to accept change, right? That was the big thing for us, is that you have to look in the mirror. And we were a company that would brag about not having turnover, but Ryan, we needed turnover, right? Like we had some guys on the bus who admittedly, after going through portions of your program, said, hey man, I think this is brilliant. I know I'm not going to be able to keep up with what you need from me anymore. Like you're going to take this to a level that is no longer sustainable. And I actually had two of my sales reps who had worked for us. One of them had worked for us for 7 years. Just say, look, I'm close to retirement. I know that there's no way that I'm going to be able to excel at the level that you're going to need me to hit your numbers. I think you need to start looking for somebody to replace me. And that was a super eye-opening moment for us, because I knew that I was going to have that conversation with that particular rep at some point, because his numbers just weren't where they needed to be.
Right.
He had that conversation with me first, and that was just such a huge weight off of my shoulders. For once you build the system and have accountability and have benchmarks and check marks, that pressure of having to have those tough conversations goes away, because your partners and your project managers and your sales reps, they'll know. And then they, at least in my experience, came to me and they said, look, man, I don't think, I thought I was a sales guy for a while, but I'm really not, like this just isn't for me. And honestly, it was a huge addition by subtraction for us.
Wow. That's awesome. So 2019 was a big year. Where were you before then with revenue, and where do you out? Where do you look out into the next 12 months of where you think you
Yeah. So 18 we were at 2.4 million. 19 we hit 3.1, and then this year we're trending for 4.5.
Gotcha. And your parents were $1 million company for years, right? And so
Yeah.
so we're trending quickly in the right direction. So good. Well, the sky's the limit, man. I'm excited for you. You're just getting ramped up. You're in your mid-20s. You're gonna crush. So I'm excited for you guys, and glad to have you on board and way to take action. So for this to work, somebody's got to be committed and bought in at the top.
Mm.
It's got to be consistent and willing to, and actually ready to change, because the standard and the bar is set to a certain height where if you don't really adjust to it, you're not gonna see the results. So as long as that happens, they're gonna get the results.
100%.
Awesome. Good. All right, bro. Well, I am gonna say thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this interview, and appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah, appreciate it, dude.